Professor, but what are you doing?
Penn tends to call crossovers verses, even if there is actually no versus one another. Ah, that's a little disappointing. I mean, Marvel versus Capcom. I mean, come on, there's some verses there. Uh, Capcom versus SNK. There's some verses there. I was gonna say Project X Zone, but there's no verses there. There's no verses in the name.
What am I doing, Mr. Wright?
Yeah, you were supposed to show up with some decisive evidence and save the day, Professor.
I'm afraid my only concern here is the truth.
The truth?
The truth behind the real identity of the Great Witch, Espella Cantabella. If seeking the truth requires us to stand on opposite sides of the courtroom, then so be it. I expect you to defend Miss Cantabella with everything you've got, Mr. Wright.
Court is now back in session. Are you prepared, High Inquisitor? So long as I remain on the witness stand, I am no longer High Inquisitor. Simply Dark Law will suffice. So they're not even going to touch on why Professor Layton is is being allowed to do this. Like, you have to even consider the possibility that Layton will sabotage this in favor of Phoenix. You know, they've been hanging around with each other for the entire game. So why isn't anybody objecting to this? Why isn't anybody talking about this? What is going on? Also, Professor Layton's supposed to be a statue of gold, and nobody is mentioning this. What is going on? Oh, I'd just like to confirm something, Miss Darklaw. A moment ago, we established that you were in fact present at the bell tower during the time of the incident. That makes a total of 3 people at the scene. It would appear that was the case. Wow. So you're admitting that you were there. I thought you would deny that. However, you managed to stay hidden from 10 different guards. With the help of this right here. The robe of invisibility. In other words, there is every reason to be suspicious of your actions tonight. Lady Darklaw, while I cannot believe you would deceive us in such a way, I ask that you tell the court what happened at the time of the incident. Very well. You would think he trusts Phoenix and wants to provoke the storyteller into revealing things. That's a good angle right there. He was trying to get that out of him. So, you know, sure. That's actually a really good angle. Layton is a liar. A gentlemanly liar. In gentlemanly terms, we like to call that playing chess. Ah. You actually own Project X Zone physically? Very unique game. I saw Yulamasa playing some of that game, and unique is the word for it. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different game. Might be thinking of a different game. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Possible she's the Great Witch, but not evil. Or the father tried protecting her by setting someone else up. Maybe. I still think Belduke is involved in this somehow. You know, I'm keeping my hopes up for that. Layton too Chad to be questioned, whereas the universe has to constantly pick on Phoenix. No. No. At least Maya disguised herself poorly, but it seems to work. Yeah, Layton just walked in and nobody seems to question it. Why didn't they go into how Kira is still still alive, or why she looks like Kira? What is? Okay. Typically we call these plot holes, but they might fill these holes later. They probably won't fill in the Layton one, though. The town square was to be the parade's final stop. I patrolled the perimeter to ensure nothing was amiss. As I passed by the bell tower, a pair of small footprints leading inside caught my eye. I went inside to investigate. I had my own reasons for not allowing any one of those vigilantes to see me. I climbed the stairs to the bell tower and saw an intruder inside. With their back turned, I proceeded to apprehend them. You apprehended the intruder? While I hold the position of High Inquisitor, there are often times when I must partake in various secret tasks unbeknownst to the citizens of Labyrinthia. One of those tasks was ensuring the security of the storyteller. So you knocked them out and locked them up in the top? Like what? Security? As such, there is nothing odd nor suspicious about my actions tonight. You made things more suspicious. You could have just denied that you were never in that bell tower to begin with, and said you got the mark because of shrapnel from the carriage being exploded with, dragon fire, and people would have believed that. Under you may now begin your interrogation. Darklaw is making everything worse. On square to the final stop, I patrolled the perimeter to ensure nothing was amiss.
Hold it!
Nothing was amiss? You mean there was no immediate threat to the storyteller, right? Now you tell me, Defender. Surely you remember the final part of the story. Must mean the part about the storyteller's death. There is little possibility of changing the outcome of what has already been written in the story. However, there are still those who would challenge the story and make an attempt at changing the inevitable. That is what I too think. What's up, Maya? You notice something? You could say that. It's just, look at Kira. She's been looking down in the dumps since the start. Alright, Kira honestly forgot she was still here. Not only that, she looks sort of scared, too. Right, we can't afford to forget about her. Wonder if Kira has anything else she could tell us. We've got to remember to question her the second I see an opening. I passed the bell tower, a pair of small footprints leading inside, caught my eye, decided to investigate.
Hold it!
Those must have been Miss Kira's footsteps from when she snuck into the bell tower, right? Indeed, the ground outside was quite muddy after the rain, so her footprints were easily visible. Right, according to the vigilante's testimony, they thought the footprints looked like Foxy's, but it turned out they weren't hers. That's right, her footprint would have contained a mark where her stiletto had been. But the footprints I saw in the bell tower contained no heel mark at all. And you stepped inside those footprints on your way up to the stairs as to not leave your own and risk being detected, correct? Exactly. At that time, my main task was to ensure the safety of the town square. In doing so, it was of the utmost importance that no one knew of my presence there. Had the townspeople noticed your presence, there would undoubtedly have raised some suspicion. Indeed, so naturally, that is why I did not wish to be noticed by the vigilantes. Therefore, it was imperative that I mask any traces of my being there, even if it meant utilizing another's footprints. Or, you say, hey, vigilantes, I see some footprints. Follow me. You trying to sneak up there on your own? More suspicious. See, a clever tactic worthy of the High Inquisitor herself. Is there anything off about her testimony just now? We're not going into that right now. Don't let the professor catch me off guard. I'm going to press an issue. I'd better be sure I know what I'm talking about. Well, a wise decision, Mr. Wright. Excuse me, I was thinking in my head. Stop reading my mind. Boy, Nick, he can totally read you like a book. Okay, seriously, is my face that easy to read, or is everyone just psychic? I had my own reasons for not allowing any of the vigilantes to see me. Is that...
Hold it!
And what were those reasons? They relate to protecting the storyteller. It was something I was to carry out at that particular time. Did it perhaps have something to do with what was already decided upon in the story? Storyteller's words are absolute. Therefore, any and all who make an attempt to alter his will be dealt with immediately.
Hang on!
Excuse me, Miss Kira. Witness. Yes? Figures. She really doesn't remember her own name. You seem to be deep in thought about something. Did you remember anything regarding the High Inquisitor's testimony? No, I'm sorry, nothing in particular. It's just... I'm a little disappointed in myself. Disappointed? I traveled all the way here to Labyrinthia in order to fulfill my mission, but all I managed to do was fail and end up being captured. Regardless of your own failure, Miss Kira, the storyteller did die, as was foretold, did he not? Tonight, as the rain came pouring down over the town, I arrived at my designated location. Naturally, the bell tower was sounded by the guards on patrol. 10 to be exact. I was very nervous. Must be talking about the vigilantes. Just relax, you'll be fine as long as you're wearing this robe, I kept telling myself. Little did I know I was wrong. But none of this would have happened if I was just a little bit more careful. Enough. I would be thinking more about atoning for your past crimes and less about what could have been if I were you. Is there anything wrong with Kira's testimony? It looks like Kira's testimony is a one-way road to nowhere. Alright, no further questions, Your Honor. Understood. Lady Darklaw, please continue your testimony. Climbed the stairs up to the bell tower and saw an intruder with their back turned. Proceeded to apprehend them.
Hold it!
Do you think it could have been the Great Witch Bazella? I mean, the thought must have crossed your mind. Surely you anticipated some sort of resistance. While I hate to admit this, I allowed myself to act rashly without first considering the circumstances. So, the second I noticed their presence, I took action. Never did I imagine the intruder would have as much strength as they did. Perhaps I should have gathered more forces to accompany me. However, at the time, I was not thinking straight. I assumed any additional help would not be necessary. Lady Darklaw, through your quick thinking and judgment, you still managed to successfully catch the suspect. Unfortunately, my lord, 'twas nothing more than pure luck. Exceptional results can only be obtained through exceptional thinking. Don't you think? What are you looking at me when you say that? Looks like that's all we're getting out of her for now. Now, if Darklaw was going into the bell tower to arrest some intruder, then I wonder why she didn't come out and say that to begin with. Simple. That information was on a strictly need-to-know basis. Need-to-know basis, huh? Sort of secrecy is pretty common, but usually they've got to have a reason for not disclosing the information to begin with. Darklaw was hiding this information for a reason. That's why we need to find out exactly what she was doing in that tower. Got to get her to tell us. Hey Nick, is it me, or do you feel like we're being watched? Yeah, tell me about it. Wonder what's up with the professor. Something must have happened. There's no way he'd turn on us like this. Professor has been very quiet so far. Surely he must have noticed there's something that doesn't add up with Darklaw's testimony. Anyway, there's bound to be something in this testimony that we can use. Have to make sure we comb this thing from top to bottom for any contradictions. That's right. Okay. Once again, I feel like I'm several steps ahead of what this is. Like, all this stuff that we're talking about right now, I feel like that's all irrelevant. What I want to talk about is how you apprehended an intruder and how you knew an intruder was there when they were wearing a robe of invisibility. That's what I want to know. But I feel like I have to get there first. Why did she overlap her footprints with Kira's? She said something about not wanting to be detected. There's no evidence that I can think of that really helps me push this forward. That's not the invisible robe. So I'm going to present this here.
Objection!
And be totally and completely wrong. I mean, this testimony does completely contradict this evidence. Respectfully, Mr. Wright, I cannot oblige in your request. Why not? Gentlemen must play a fair game and game fair and square. Would you not agree? After all, a gentleman. Alright. It's time to save. We only got one credibility left. Time to use a hint coin to figure out what I'm supposed to do next. Like, obviously there's the whole thing with Kira, but again, like, she's regretful that she failed her task and all that other stuff. Like, I don't know where to go from there. What sort of evidence even talks about her, like, getting her task? It just, I don't know. Into coin. So I figured this was the one that I needed to go to, which is why I was on this one for a little while, because this is the one that Professor Layton did not say anything when stuff happened. But again, I don't know what evidence points to this. Oh, you want me to press?
Hold it!
What?
Observe.
Hang on!
I was disappointed in myself. I went all the way to Labyrinthia and I failed. Storyteller did die. Anyways, talking about the vigilantes. Just relax. Own for your crime, sucker. Something odd. I don't know what's odd about this. Let's say something's odd. If they ask me to present evidence, I'm screwed. Hold on one second. About your testimony, Miss Kira. You were thinking to yourself that so long as you had your robe on, you would be fine. Ah, see, this is what I mean by I'm too many steps ahead. Because it's already been established that she was wearing the robe. So I should be able to present the robe right now. But they want to reestablish that she was wearing the robe, and then I can present the robe. A little obnoxious. So basically, you were wearing the robe the whole time you were on the top floor of the bell tower, is that right? Yes, I had it on the entire time. That is until I was attacked. And my robe was ripped off by the wind. Miss Kira, this is the first time we've heard any mention of this information. Really? I feel like it's been mentioned several times. That's so. I think I must have just forgotten. Your Honor, perhaps we should update this piece of evidence in the court record. Right you are. I mean, it was already, I feel like it was already established that she was wearing the robe. I'm gonna save. Oh, yes, I is. Now I'm gonna present
Objection!
the robe and be totally wrong. Oh, never mind. Okay, the music stopped. I was like, my goodness. So the person you saw when you entered the bell tower was actually Miss Kira. The only problem with that is that it would have been impossible. What are you talking about, Defender? Miss Kira, or should I say the witness, stated that she was waiting on the upper floor of the tower. She was wearing her invisibility robe. Therefore, there's no way Miss Darklaw would have been able to see the witness. Oh, you're quite right. Anyone wearing this robe becomes invisible. Right, but there is just one particular group that can see anyone dressed in this robe. And who is that exactly? Only residents of the Eldritch Woods are able to see the robe. If you're from Eldritch Woods, then you'll have absolutely no problem seeing this thing.
Objection!
What you're saying, Mr. Wright, is that Miss Darklaw here actually hails from the Eldritch Woods, is that correct? And that she knew this girl prior to tonight. That's right, Professor. What is this? You gotta think at the game's baby pace? Look, you know, sometimes I solve the puzzle in the first 5 seconds, okay? I don't want to have to go through 6 hours to pick at every little piece of evidence. You know what's really fun about, I think I was talking to someone about this. It might have been Heels. We were talking on Discord about, there was this game that he played that gave him the ability to, like, basically skip to the end of a side quest. So for example, if there was a side quest that said, there's some cows on the other side of town. I need you to go over there and get me some milk. Or I need you to bring me some milk. Okay, there's some cows on the other side of town. I need you to bring me some milk. Then you could go over to the other side of town and the person will be there and be like, yeah, you know, you can milk the cows. Go ahead. And you milk the cows, you put them in the bottle, and you go all the way back and you deliver them to the person. Or, you know, on your way to the place, you stumble across a person and you talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, I have some milk, you know, stuff like that. Here, have some milk. I just milked it, you know, it's for free, you know, on me. And you bring it back and you skip this whole portion of a quest. Or maybe you already have some milk on you. Maybe you talked to that person hours ago and you have that milk in your possession and you just give it to them immediately. They're like, oh, thanks. You know, you got me some milk. I think that games don't do this very often, which is understandable. It's a very obnoxious thing to plan for and probably code for. But games that allow you to reach the conclusion without doing any of the middle steps are really cool. But I think what would be even cooler specifically in a game like a Phoenix Wright trial would be to skip to the conclusion and then prove everything based off of that conclusion. So if I started this trial and the first thing I said is Darklaw is the witch, Great Witch Bazella, then I have to use all the stuff in my inventory to prove it. I think that would be amazing, because then I get to skip the entire trial and do this like speed run trial in a sense. And that's really cool if somebody could develop a game like that. The problem with the baby pace of the game is this might sound conceited, but I'm not meaning it like this. It's very difficult to not jump to conclusions or to not think several steps ahead. And so this game wants you to think one step ahead every single time. But they also want you to remember several steps back. And that's just not how I operate, I see somewhere in the middle, and I probably see somewhere in the end, or, somewhere in between that. And I see how to get there from like a meta perspective of, okay, I got to prove that this person was there, blah, blah, blah. But I can't see each individual step that gets there. And that's my biggest issue. More like with myself and not necessarily the game, but, also since the game requires me to do that, it's, game has some little fault with it as well. Anyways, that was a long rant/tangent. A most impressive display, Mr. Wright. However, there was one detail that you appear to have overlooked. Something I overlooked. You say Miss Darklaw saw something she should not have been able to see. However, the truth is that there is one other possibility as to what occurred tonight. Did he just say what I think he said? Rather easy to work out. Quite simply, the witness was not wearing the robe in the first place. What are you talking about, Inquisitor? Wait, you're calling Layton an Inquisitor now? Hold on a second, you sucker fool. He is not an Inquisitor. He is a professor. And nobody's questioning this suckerfoot. This witness has proven her memory of tonight's events can be quite unreliable. I believe that by the time she climbed the bell tower, she had in fact already removed her robe. What? Is as you say, Inquisitor. As you can see, Defender, your assertion is merely speculation at best. The little witness here has been lying to the court the entire time. It's as simple as that.
Objection!
One second, the witness was quite clear with her testimony. Isn't that right, Miss Kira? Not sure. What? I mean, my memory is a little fuzzy. No way. It would appear there is nothing more to be gained from this line of questioning. Your Honor, I suggest we return to the cross-examination. Fine idea, Inquisitor. Well then, Lady Darklaw, will you please continue with your testimony? As you wish. No matter how you slice it, Kira looks like she's definitely hiding something. If only there was some way of getting her to talk, huh, Nick? No matter what Kira says, Darklaw just stays cool and brushes it off. Yeah, this isn't going to be easy, that's for sure. That's why we really need to set our sights on Darklaw. If we keep doing that, then sooner or later Kira is bound to speak up and say something. Well, Nick, that's your most dastardly, devious plan yet. Alright, I know there's still a clue or two in this testimony somewhere, and I'm gonna find it. Should go back and double check her previous testimony. There have to be some more contradictions. Shouldn't that be has? There has to be more contradictions? There have to be some more contradictions. That doesn't feel right. There have to be some more. I guess maybe it could work. I feel like has works. Oh, whoops. Already been through this. So they required me to go through that first. That was what my hint coin was all about. So now you want me to press that instead of this one, I guess.
Hold it!
Those must have been Miss Kira's footsteps when she snuck into the bell tower. Indeed, according to the Vigilante's testimony. I thought the footprints looked like Foxy's. That's right, her footprint would have contained a mark where her stiletto had been. Well, the footprints had no heel mark. You stepped inside those footprints, correct? Exactly. The main task was to ensure the safety of the town square. No one knew my presence there. The townspeople noticed your presence, blah blah blah. Indeed, bad stuff. I needed to be whatchamacallit. I see, clever tactic, worthy of Inquisitor herself. Anything off about her testimony? There is something very wrong. Let's find out what that is. Miss Darklaw, I just noticed something in your testimony that's very relevant to the case. The defense requests you amend your testimony. You just can't help letting that ridiculous imagination of yours run wild, can you? The Inquisition has no objections. Very well, the witness will amend her testimony. You didn't even say what needed to be... No. There was no heel on the footprints. Well, as I descended the stairs, I was able to carefully match my footprints. And as far as possible. Okay, so I have to present something here. I think I'll probably just use hint coins for everything that I'm not like 100% certain on.
Objection!
Because like I don't know where this is going. I really don't. What I have here is a sketch of the footprints left at the bell tower. I do know this was something that I was going to say previously, but again, I don't know where this is going. Is the footprints that were in the sketch said that they matched the accused's footprints. Which I guess is very suspicious, but I don't see what that does for this right now. Well, tell me, Miss Darklaw, are these your footprints in the sketch? It would appear so. I would never mean to offend the hard work of Labyrinthia's vigilantes, but tonight's task was mine and mine alone. Okay, when you put it that way, I can't help but notice a contradiction. What did you say? Miss Darklaw, you stated the following. When you climbed the stairs, the footprints had no heel. So, you tried to match your footsteps to them as far as possible. However, you look at the actual footprints that were left behind. You can clearly see that not only is the heel present, but so is the entire foot. Oh, this is really where they're going with this? You were trying so hard to step on the footprints already there, then the footprints in this sketch shouldn't have heel marks. It's very true, although I do not think such a small detail is of much importance in the long run. I don't think it's of any importance at all, but see where we're going with this? I agree, it's a small detail, Your Honor. But that's not all I noticed. There was something very telling about Miss Darklaw's testimony. Telling, you say? She stated that she stepped on the footprints that were already at the scene in order to disguise her presence. Now, there's something strange here, specifically. Why were these footprints left at the crime scene in the first place?
Objection!
Mr. Wright. Yes, Professor. Tell me, can you show the court why this seemingly minor detail is odd? I can't exactly do that at the moment. Who can say whether or not these footprints are indeed worthy of concern? And if it is an issue, then what exactly are the implications? That above all is what you must answer, Mr. Wright. I do not believe you can assert that this is a blatant contradiction at this time. Here he goes again, flexing that amazing brain of his. That's enough. Skira? Lady Darklaw, how? How could you? How could you simply abandon us? How could you betray us? Betray? Witness, what is the meaning of this? Lady Darklaw, you are the mistress of the Eldritch Woods. You are the one responsible for handing us our task. What? This wretched girl is nothing more than a detestable spawn of magic. Her words cannot be taken seriously. People of Labyrinthia, I ask you, what am I if not a loyal daughter of this fair town? No, you're lying, Lady Darklaw. When I was waiting up there at the top of the bell tower, I was most certainly wearing that robe. Lady Darklaw, you were also wearing a similar robe, were you not? Don't you remember? What nonsense. I haven't a clue what you're babbling about. I simply managed to sneak right by those makeshift guards. Was not the most demanding of tasks for someone like me. Yes, you're right, that would be true. If you'd be sneaking around by yourself. By yourself? Blame yourself. Enough. Listen to me and listen well. Continue as you are, and I will see to it that this court be the last place you ever set foot. Matters not, the end is already nigh. After the events of today, I shouldn't even be here right now. Skira, you're saying that Miss Darklaw was not by herself at the time of the incident tonight. That's right. Lady Darklaw was wearing the invisibility robe, and underneath that robe was a young girl passed out on her back. What? A girl? Could that be... Yes. It was the very same girl imprisoned inside that cage up there. You mean... Spella Cantabella? Le gasp? Order, order! So the accused was carried up the bell tower. Lord, there is nothing left for me to say. 'Tis the word of a high inquisitor versus that of a witch. Tell me, who would you sooner believe?
Objection!
Miss Darklaw, you of all people should be aware that this isn't a matter of believing or not believing. I'm afraid those are words that carry no meaning here. The only thing that carries any meaning here within the courtroom is evidence. Don't you agree, Mr. Wright? Yes, absolutely, Professor. Well now, things are beginning to heat up a little, are they not? Fine, tell me, Defender, have you the means to prove this assertion? Do you actually think you can prove that I, the High Inquisitor of Labyrinthia, carried the accused into the bell tower? From the looks of it, Miss Kira was supposed to keep quiet about Darklaw's little secret. But she couldn't deal with all of Darklaw's denials, and finally found the guts to chime in. Can't let Kira's efforts go to waste. I don't care what stands in my way, I'm gonna find the truth. Your Honor, the defense wishes to present evidence proving that Miss Darklaw did in fact carry my client up the tower. Very well, Defender, you may present your evidence. Show us the evidence that proves Lady Darklaw carried the accused up the bell tower. So I have the... I was already thinking about the footprints. It aligns with a lot of really good things. Lady Darklaw said that she was trying to match the footprints, but she failed because the spella was, too heavy, so she couldn't, not keep her heel off the ground or whatever. But that's kind of loose. Everything else... I mean, honestly, I don't think anything here proves it. The footprints is probably what it is, though. Yeah. I don't like this particular evidence. Once again, I don't think this is proof. I think this is circumstantial evidence.
Take that!
There was something in her testimony now that I'm not buying. And that's the footprints that were left at the bell tower. Did I not just finish admitting that those were my footprints? Miss Darklaw, you stated the following. There was no heel on the footprints, so as I ascended the stairs, I was careful to match my footprints to them as far as possible. However, the reality is, the footprints pictured in the sketch actually do contain a heel. That means something must have prevented you from being able to tiptoe along the footprints that were already there. Prevented? Ah, you mean? That's right, Your Honor. Miss Darklaw, when you climbed up the bell tower tonight, you must have been carrying Miss Cantabella on your back, is that correct? If you remember, it rained quite heavily tonight. That means the stairs must have been quite slippery. With your two hands occupied carrying my client, there would be no safe way for you to tiptoe up the stairs without falling. That right there is the truth behind the footprints on the staircase. This is circumstantial at best. Lady Darklaw, you... Fine, I admit it. It is as you say, I donned the robe and made my way up the tower. But I was not alone. I carried both Espella Cantabella and her little friend up the tower with me. Little friend? That black-furred creature of hers. The thing is nary ever a second from her side. Ah, she means Eve. When I arrived at the top of the tower, I saw this girl already there and called out to her. I was very shocked to see the mistress show up in person like that. The girl's presence was an inconvenience, so I immediately put her to sleep. Believe it or not, it's just like you said, Defender. I used what remained of Belduke's medicine to put the girl out of the picture. And that's when Miss Kira put up a fight and pulled this pendant right off your neck, correct? That's right. Cannot fathom it. That would mean this pendant actually belongs to you, Lady Darklaw. I just have one question, Miss Darklaw. Why take Espella up the bell tower? Why render her unconscious? Why go through the trouble of sneaking past the guards? What exactly was your aim in all of this? I'm in no way obliged to answer that question, Defender. What? What makes you say that? Simple. None of this has any relevance to the case at hand, that is why.
Objection!
Miss Darklaw, you rendered the witness unconscious and locked her up at the top of the bell tower. I'd say that is more than a little relevant.
Objection!
Your Honor, if I may. The Inquisition believes the defense's question to be irrelevant to the current case. Professor, what are you saying? It would seem the defense has forgotten a very important point. Namely, the point of this, Mr. Wright. Well, the aim of this trial is to find the identity of the Great Witch Bazella. Whether or not Miss Darklaw locked the witness at the top of the bell tower is hardly relevant to the purpose of this trial. But there's one thing that is very clear. Neither Miss Darklaw nor this witness could possibly be Bazella. What? If either one of the two were Bazella, then there would be no need for them to have used this robe of invisibility. They cannot use any magic, therefore it is inconceivable that either of them could be the Great Witch. Rather straightforward argument if there ever was one. At the time of the incident, there were 3 people present. Of those 3, 2 used the robe of invisibility to vanish from sight. leaving only one person, indeed Miss Cantabella. With this in mind, the larger question is, who is Bezella? Is that not obvious? The accused, Spella Cantabella, is the only possible answer. Besides, the accused's voice was heard by the townspeople, chanting the spell Grandworm.
Objection!
Not so fast. I happen to think these witnesses are extremely relevant to this trial. Did you forget about Miss Kira? She supposedly took a one-way trip into the pit of fire over there. And yet, here she is, in one piece, testifying that she returned in order to kill the ruler of Labyrinthia, the storyteller. Then there's Miss Darklaw, who rendered the defendant unconscious and proceeded to transport her up the bell tower. I'd say there's more than enough reason to investigate who these two really are, only to discover that they are not, in fact, the Great Witch Bezella. I'm saying there's a possibility that these two are somehow related to Bezella. Court will now announce its thoughts on the matter. Must say, what Inquisitor Layton, he is not an Inquisitor, sucker. He's just some random dude that was gold and now is not gold. Has stated certainly does ring true. However, Lady Darklaw, I have one question I must ask you. What exactly were you hoping to accomplish here tonight? I assure you, it was not my intent to deceive the good citizens of Labyrinthia. However, I must now reveal the truth to you all. What did she say? You don't think Lady Darklaw is in league with the witches, do you? It can't be. She was the one that saw to the other witch's demise. Lady Darklaw, are you saying that you're... That's right, my lord. I am a shade. Shade? Lady Darklaw, will you please tell the court exactly what you mean when you say shade? Yes, of course. I grow weary of standing behind this bench. I will tell you all I can. What the heck is she trying to pull? Why testify about something that could potentially undermine your credibility? Also, since you were asking about Project X Zone before, it's basically a giant crossover with characters from Capcom, Sega, and Namco Bandai. Sort of a tactical RPG, you guess. Like you move units around on a grid. I know what the game is. I know what Project X is, or actually, I guess I was confusing Project X Zone with a different game. But actually, you know, maybe in hindsight, I was thinking of the same game after all. There's like team attacks or something like that in Project X Zone, isn't there? That's what I'm thinking of. Shades live outside the realm of those who dwell within Labyrinthia. To them, I am known as the Great Witch. Those that are put to the flames in the witch trials become shades, who live their lives in the woods. We exist to carry out tasks given to us by our mistress, the Great Witch herself. I am not a witch, nor am I a wandering spirit. What on earth, High Inquisitor Darklaw? Do you mean to say that not only are you a witch, but that you're the Great Witch? Unbelievable, Lady Darklaw is the Great Witch. The Great Witch, doesn't that mean she's Bezella? Right, Lady Darklaw is Bezella. I do hope you have not forgotten what we established only moments ago. It is not possible for Miss Darklaw to be Bezella. But Inquisitor Layton, surely the testimony just now proves it. I'm afraid that in the heat of such revelations, you all misheard the information. 'Tis pointless. This is the extent of what the people of this town will believe. I believe the truth will become clear during our cross-examination. Don't you agree, Mr. Wright? This is where I say, nope, no further questions. Burn the witch. Defender, you may begin your interrogation. Who did I say was playing the game? You're curious to check out the stream? It was Yulamasa. But that was a while ago. I don't... Maybe he highlighted playthrough. I'm not 100% sure. He stops by every now and then. He's probably streaming right now. How do I spell that? Yulimasa. Or actually, I have a better idea. Hold on. Does that work? Oh, I have to type out the whole thing? Oh, man. Sorry. Boom shakalaka. There you go. Gotta use these Twitch tools a little bit more. Alrighty. Let's press that Great Witch. Great Witch? Yes, that's right. However, I am not Bazella. The mistress to those who dwell in the Eldritch Woods is dubbed the Great Witch. Even if I wanted to be Bazella, I couldn't. As the ever-so-charming Inquisitor stated earlier, I cannot use magic. Miss Darklaw, I have one question. What do you mean by live outside the realm? I mean just that, Inquisitor. We truly do live in a realm separate from this town. Now surely one as intelligent as yourself has worked out the answer by now, no? Perhaps. That remains to be seen, Miss Darklaw. Okay, so this game is saying that Darklaw is not the witch, or is not Bazella, and has... It certainly does. I mean, if we were to believe her, it certainly does throw things out of whack here. My theory about Darklaw being the daughter of the storyteller is losing traction very quickly. Regardless, something we cannot, 'tis something we cannot discuss with anyone, but it is something that the defense should be able to prove. It almost sounds like a challenge. By the way, Miss Darklaw, since you're not actually a witch, why do you continue to be called that? To answer that, I must first discuss the true identity of the Shades. Those that are put to the flames and in the witches' trials become Shades who live their lives in the woods.
Hold it!
So you're saying that the Kira here right now is a Shade version of the Kira from before. Indeed, Defender. The girl has no recollection of her life prior to living in those woods. What manner of witchery is this? Why? This girl, Kira the flower seller, was cast straight into the flames before our very eyes. That's right, Your Honor. But as you can see, she didn't die. You see, there's actually a trick to the incineration device in the witch's court. A trick? Once the verdict has been delivered, the court attendants move the steel cage into position, after which it seals shut. Then the cage is dropped down into a pit of fire. The bottom of the cage then opens, allowing the witch inside to escape unharmed into an underground passage. What you're saying is true, Defender, then. What of this town's witch-purging history? What has been the purpose of all of this? You and the knights have indeed been ridding Labyrinthia of witches. However, nary a single life has been taken in the process. That is the reality. Good. You cannot truly expect me to believe such a ridiculous notion. Your Honor, it's true. Take a good hard look. It doesn't get any more alive than this. It's you. Aya! May. Ayame. Ayame? Well, it's actually Maya Fey. Your forgetfulness. What the heck are you doing? Everyone's gonna recognize you. Yeah, but seeing is believing, Nick. Now they have to believe you. Do you see? Are you satisfied? All those found guilty in the witch trials lose their names, magic, and memory. They are then sent to spend their lives as shades in the Eldritch Woods. And the mistress of those shades is the Great Witch. As you can see, this girl too has become a shade. I have no more words to express my utter disbelief at this situation. That's enough. Shall we return to the testimony? Why do I have the feeling things are going to get a lot worse? You just checked? You think the game I was thinking of is Namco x Capcom, which is similar but not quite the same. That's probably the one I was thinking of. We exist to carry out tasks given us by Mistress, the Great Witch herself.
Hold it!
These tasks you mentioned, were you acting on them this evening? Yes, I was told to come here and become Bezella. Wait just a moment, witness. Did you just say become Bezella? My, how absolutely dreadful. Why would anyone be given such a terrible task? Where have these shades come from? Order! I'm sorry, I don't know why I was given such a task. All I can do is follow the orders I am given. If I can do that, then I can return. What do you mean, you can return? Such is the nature of the shades. Neither human nor witch. Theirs is an existence spent in the shadows. Each of the shades is given specific tasks. Then, upon successfully completing such tasks, they are allowed to return to Labyrinthia as brand new people. But, Lady Darklaw, how can they return as brand new citizens? When we already know who they were. For instance, we all recognize the former flower seller standing before us. Now that, my lord, remains a secret, but a secret you will come to understand sooner rather than later. Simply baffling. The one who gives us our tasks is the Great Witch. That would be you, Lady Darklaw. I mean, oh magnificent one. While this explanation is wrought with much I cannot comprehend, I request the witness add it to their testimony. Okay. Lady Darklaw was our venerable mistress. She assigned us with our tasks. She was the Great Witch.
Hold it!
So about these tasks, can you give us any other examples? A shade's tasks must never be discussed with others, no matter what. She says that even though she just finished telling us all about her secret task. Incidentally, do you perhaps remember when you arrived back in town to carry out your orders? Well, not really. My memory is still fuzzy. A little fuzzy. Hey, didn't Kira only just recently become one of those shade thingies? Still, I failed at my task tonight. Come to think of it, when Luke and I had our little run-in with Kira, I remember being blown clear across the marketplace, but I never saw any explosives or gunpowder. Maybe Kira was given the task of blowing you to smithereens, Nick. And we're done. Getting back to this testimony. I'm sure there's something here that just doesn't add up. I am not a witch, nor am I a wandering spirit.
Hold it!
You really don't have any recollection of your old flower-selling self, do you? I don't. When a witch becomes a shade, they lose all memory of their past life. They lose their memories, but why? And yet, you still have some grasp of the concept of magic, do you not, Witness? Let me spell it out for you. Magic does not exist in the Eldritch Woods. Oh, but there are actually lots of things back in the forest that I have not seen in this town. There are things there you have not seen here. Like really huge machines, that sort of thing. There's one that spits out fire with such amazing speed. And then it expels these huge plumes of gray smoke. A machine that spits fire. Never have I heard of such a thing. Are you certain that these machines of which you speak are not simply magic? You know, now that you mention it, I don't think anyone from this town can actually see those of us from the forest. They can't see you? Could it be something like that robe? How can such a thing even be possible without magic?
Objection!
Miss Darklaw, if I may interrupt for just a moment. What is it, Inquisitor Layton? Through your testimony just now, we have all come to understand the process of how one becomes a shade. However, I was hoping you could perhaps elaborate on one additional point. Namely, what exactly is the purpose behind the shades? If you wish to know our purpose, there are certain other things you must first understand. Once you've done that, the answer should be quite clear. Isn't that right, Defender? Purpose behind the shades. Rest assured, you will not get the answer from me. As the saying goes, the witch is in your court, Defender. Sounds like Darklaw's challenging me to figure this out. Challenge accepted. There's but one true purpose for the shades that dwell within the Eldritch Woods.
Hold it!
Darklaw, what is the purpose of the shades? As mistress to the shades, I cannot disclose the purpose of their existence. Well then, since Miss Darklaw is unable to tell us herself, it seems we must rely on evidence instead. Evidence, huh? I do believe the shades could have something to do with that which exists in this town, but ought not to. Something that exists, but shouldn't? Well, Defender, are you prepared to present evidence? What the sucker fool?